Tashdil everyone, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly feature in English that tells you about this week's news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama launches book Science and Philosophy in the Indian Buddhist Classics, Volume 2, The Mind. Focus on studying Buddhist logic, says His Holiness the Dalai Lama to fellow Buddhists. His Holiness the Dalai Lama warns catastrophe of ignored climate crisis. His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration congratulate US President-elect Joe Biden. His Holiness the Dalai Lama congratulates Nitish Kumar on Bihar's poll success. Geneva Forum 2020 on China's policy on freedom of religion, global impact concludes. Will leave no stone unturned to push the Tibet policy and support bill. Sikyong embarks on US visit. Switzerland raises concerns on human rights in Tibet at political dialogue with China. International conference on Tibetology and Buddhology at the intersection of science and religion. His Holiness the Dalai Lama launched a book today titled Science and Philosophy in the Indian Buddhist Classics, Volume 2, The Mind. John Dunn, Distinguished Chair in Contemplative Humanities through the Center for Investigating Healthy Minds at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and Thupten Jimpa, Broad Chair, Mind and Life Institute, were also present at the virtual book launch event.
Once we develop the clear sort of awareness or understanding or possibility, the causes of suffering can remove.
In his message for the 15th International Buddhist Conference in Seoul, South Korea, His Holiness emphasized broader focus on Buddhist temperament and logic rather than a textbookish adherence. We are practitioners of a tradition that is characterized as not simply following all that is taught, but examining through logic recorded and dictated by Buddha and other great Buddhist masters and scholars. His Holiness the Dalai Lama warns of the catastrophic consequences if the world's leaders do not take urgent action against climate change during an interview with Channel 4. His Holiness further mentions that countries like Tibet, that is rich in sources of rivers, may become a hyper-arid desert land in the near future if global warming remains unchecked.
This is a serious matter. You see, global warming may reach such level that most of these rivers will dry. Tibet, usually, you see, considered roof of the world. And a major river come from Tibet. Now, eventually, Tibet become like Afghanistan.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration congratulated Joe Biden on his election as the next President of the United States of America. In the congratulatory note, His Holiness expressed his gratitude for Biden's support for the Tibetan people during his time in Congress. CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye and Speaker of Tibetan Parliament in Exile also congratulated United States President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. In their letters, the Tibetan leaders expressed hope to a renewed policy and support on Tibet under Biden's leadership. His Holiness the Dalai Lama wrote to Nitish Kumar to offer his congratulations on his coalition's success in Bihar State Assembly election. His Holiness appreciated Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's support and encouragement of His Holiness's efforts to promote a revival of interest in ancient Indian thought so vividly expressed in the historic Nalanda tradition. The Geneva Forum 2020 concluded today. Over the period of 5 days, the forum saw 5 panels that brought together a group of human rights experts, practitioners, academicians, activists, diplomats, advocates, parliamentarians, and leaders to discuss the central theme of the 3rd Geneva Forum 2020, China's policy on freedom of religion, global impact.
That the Communist Party of China, which is an atheist, which do not believe in religion at all. All they have done is destroyed our religion. They have been the judge as far as reincarnation is concerned. Now,
CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye inaugurated the forum and launched the book Tibet Was Never a Part of China, but Middle Way Approach Remains a Viable Solution in the Czech language. The Central Tibetan Administration's Department of Information and International Relations and Office of Tibet Geneva began organizing Geneva Forum in the year 2018 with an objective to highlight increasing human rights violation in regions under People's Republic of China. Due to the global pandemic this year, the third Geneva Forum was conducted virtually. This year's forum deliberated on understanding and analyzing the religious persecution being carried out in regions under Chinese rule by bringing forth the global impact of the repressive policies of Chinese Communist Party on religious freedom. During the forum, the Tibet Bureau Geneva launched Geneva Forum website, which gives all the information about the Geneva Forum. Sikyong Dr. Lobsang Singye embarked on his second visit to the US in the span of a month to push the passage of Tibet Policy and Support Bill in the US Senate. At the press briefing held on Tuesday this week, Sikyong said his upcoming visit is hoped to spur renewed interest and support on the Tibet issue. He appealed to the Tibetans in America and associations to call up their officials to push the Tibet Policy Support Act into law. Sikyong said, "This bill must be signed before the Senate session concludes in January 2021, so we have to make every effort to push it into law this time or lose the progress that has been achieved so far." Sikyong assured that he would meet lawmakers and advocate strongly to push the bill, which he said was his prime agenda for making the upcoming US visit. During a political dialogue via video conference with China's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sikyong, on Monday this week, Switzerland's State Secretary Christina Marti expressed concerns about the lack of respect for human rights in China, especially the treatment of Tibetans by the Chinese authorities. This comes in the backdrop of Beijing-based Swiss Ambassador Bernardino Rigazzoni's visit to Tibet between 7 to 11 September 2020, which was the first official Swiss visit since 2017. In a statement on the visit, the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs noted that the Swiss ambassador, along with other 10 diplomatic missions, visited Lhasa and Shigaze and took the opportunity to address important issues such as human rights situation with the local government. Expressing concerns over the human rights situation in Tibet, the Foreign Affairs Department had assured that the free access of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights to Tibet and the protection of Tibetan human rights defenders remain core demands of Switzerland. The honorary representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to Russia, Telo Tulku Rinpoche, took part in the 4th International Conference, Tibetology and Buddhology at the intersection of science and religion, which was held online from 9th to 11th November. The participants of the conference discussed Tibet's relations with the neighboring countries, the state of Buddhist studies in Kalmykia, Buryatia, Tuva, and other regions of Russia, Mongolia, and other countries, the activities of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to preserve Buddhism and develop contacts between religion and science and secular ethics, the role of the Tibetan community in preserving Buddhism and Tibetan culture, Buddhism and science. The conference was attended by honored scientist of Russia, director of the Institute of Cognitive Studies, St. Petersburg State University, corresponding member of the Russian Education Academy, Tatiana Chernigovskaya, RAS academician, neurobiologist, Konstantin Anokhin, professor of biological faculty of Moscow State University, Alexander Kaplan, head of the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience, Institute for Biomedical Problems, RAS, Professor Yuri Bubiev, and Yulia Boitsova from the N.P. Bektareva Institute of the Human Brain of RAS and other Russian scientists, as well as a number of Buddhist scientist monks. The two-day conference was organized by the Institute of Oriental Studies of the Russian Academy of Sciences and the Save Tibet Foundation. So much for today. See you next time and have a great weekend.